Good morning. Happy Victory Monday. It is another live edition of Channel Side Sports.
Yes, sir.
Happy Monday. Welcome in, everybody. Of course, it's myself, Evan. I haven't been here in a few days. It's good to be back. And of course, as usual, is my co-host with the most, Danny. Good morning to you. What's up, man?
Morning,
I know we're both feeling great. It's Victory Monday.
Oh,
We will get into that in just a few minutes. Make sure to follow Channel Side Sports on all your social media platforms at Channel Side Sports and smash that subscribe button at our YouTube page as well. Good show to go into. The Lightning made sure the New York Rangers don't take a 3-0 lead last night in Amalie Arena by winning the game last night. Fantastic score. No quit in this team. We'll get into that. We do have Henry Yoho from was it Bolts by the Bay?
From Bolts by the Bay, yes,
Bolts
sir.
by the Bay will coming into the show. Just a few. We'll be talking to him about the Lightning victory last night. What this means for the Lightning going forward. Has the momentum shifted from New York to us? We will hopefully win Game 4 and go on to the Stanley Cup Finals yet again. We will talk to him about that in just a few minutes. The Rays had a interesting weekend, so to speak. Mostly negative.
Not even really baseball related either.
Exactly. Stuff that I was a bit surprised about. We will also talk into more talk about if Gronk will return. And we're actually talking basketball on this show for the Orlando Magic. And
yes, we are.
And the upcoming NBA draft. But let's get into it. The Bolts defeated the New York Rangers yesterday. A much-needed win on Game 3, 3-2 yesterday. Danny, you were at the watch party yesterday. What were your thoughts going in? Actually, what were your thoughts the first two periods before period 3? Because I watched a little bit of the game before taking a midday nap with my son because we were up since 5 a.m. yesterday. And they looked to me still a team that was overmatched yet again. Still looking kind of sluggish, getting outplayed, and then all of a sudden, third period, it was the tables had kind of turned. What were your thoughts in the first two periods?
Yeah, I thought they did look a little faster. They looked passes were a little more crisp, but they're just getting outskated, and I guess that's going to come with the territory when you're playing against the youngest team that's remaining in the playoffs and you are the oldest team remaining in the playoffs. It looked promising, ending the first period 0-0. Vazzy had a couple really great stops. Shesterkin had a couple really great stops as well. And they just looked more efficient. Obviously, at the end of the second period, it was 2-1 Rangers lead. However, it wasn't, to me anyway, it wasn't like okay, here we go again. We're gonna, it was still within reach as we entered the third period.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, obviously you tied it up, and I'll take a regulation victory any day of the week. But good Lord, I mean, you guys, they really waited till the very last second. Everybody's sitting on their hands, going, "All right, well, here we go. Let's order some more food. We've got overtime coming, another round of drinks." Oh, wait, never mind. We won. And, we actually, we went to District Tavern downtown and hung out in there because it was just too hot to go sit outside Amalie.
I know, a midday game and doing a watch party, that's kind of brutal in the Florida weather. I was kind of surprised. I mean, there was tons of people out there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I mean, I would probably
troopers.
I would probably go out there, maybe watch I would watch the period itself. And then in intermission time, go find shade, and then come back and watch the game. But I would stay out there the whole time.
Yeah.
No, I hate being hot as it is, but doing that, hell to the no.
Right. I would much rather be cold than hot.
I agree.
I can layer. You can keep adding clothes. There's only a certain amount of clothes you can remove before you get in trouble for it. So
I definitely agree on that. I saw when they were cutting out to outside Amalie, and there was just tons of people. I'm like, you guys are champs, man.
Oh, hell
sitting
yeah.
out 90-degree weather. I'm good in my house watching the game that way, but I'll tip my hat off to the people that sat outside Amalie last night or yesterday afternoon to watch the game. So hats off to you.
They did it for you. They won for you guys.
No, I'm probably going to ask Henry this question. has the momentum shifted now? I mean, obviously being at home, it helps out a lot. I mean, with the crowd there and everybody into it. And now, we're only down 2-1. After this victory yesterday with them scoring with 46 seconds left on the clock, has that momentum? Do you think the momentum hopefully has shifted, to us maybe going into game 4 that, hey, this is going to be a dogfight to the end?
I think it did. If you look at if you start going down like the box score, almost look at the shots, 52-30. I mean, it doesn't matter how good your goalie is. If you're shooting 52 times, at least one's going to go through.
Right.
Unless you're Vazzy in game 4 against the Panthers. But I mean, let's be completely real about that. Like, that was like a once in a lifetime game for a goalie to stop 49 out of 49. If you're shooting that often, you're going to score. Takeaways. They had 13 takeaways to 5. The first 2 games, it was opposite. New York was just running all over Tampa Bay, taking the puck away. Their back check was great. Their forecheck was great. They were stopping the puck. They were getting turnovers in the neutral zone, and it looked like a completely different team. I wish this was the team we saw in game 2. We would have come back home for yesterday's game, and it would have been a 1-1 series. However, that was not in the cards. I do feel like the momentum did shift, though, because as good as New York played, Tampa still outplayed them. And Vazzy still wasn't great. He had a .933 goal save percentage. So it wasn't a fantastic Vazzy game, but everywhere else stepped it up. If they play with that same momentum, that same urgency, and the same precision in game 4, and Vazzy plays like Vazzy plays, which is a little bit better than what we saw in game 3, we're going back to New York 2-2.
I'm glad that you said the urgency, because I know Coach Cooper said the lack of urgency and the poor puck management was one of the things that really kind of hindered them the most the first couple of games. And going into game 3, that was, hopefully a topic of discussion was, look, we need to clean it up. And we need to light a fire under our asses for this game. We're at home in front of the home crowd and everything. So, I mean, I saw improvement. It almost seemed to me like each period, there was improvement each period. That's what I got out of it. And then, I mean, period 1, and then I was like period 2. Okay, look, it's to me, I was like, man, this is the team's starting to do something right now. This looks like a different team. Yeah, they're waking up right now. And then period 3 came in. I was like, okay, this is the team that we know of. And of course, I think the team having a 9 games off between series really kind of. I mean, we talked about this before. Like it kind of it could either hinder a team or help out a team. And I think 9 days off for this team with that momentum they were going after the Panther series was really kind of a hinder instead of a helper going into a series like this against New York. So hopefully the team is now I think after game 2 where, the chance where Igor is better. It's like, don't poke the bear, man. Don't poke it.
Yeah. I think
they need to watch Shorzy and LA. They need to watch the hockey shows where you don't poke the bear, eh? So
no, you don't. Like I just, to me, like I said, it was that was a classic New York chant. Like, that's what they do. Henry brought it up on Friday. We want Boston. The Brooklyn Nets fans are chanting. Oh, what happened when you got Boston? 4-0. Got it.
I love that. Did you see the bunch of the memes where they were giving Oscars out to Igor because of his flop yesterday?
Oh my dude. That was an NBA.
That was a LeBron James flop.
It really was. I mean, it was. First of all, you're wearing a mask, right? Like, you're wearing a damn mask.
No.
It hit you, and then you react. Like, you don't get hit in the face and wait like 3 seconds and then go, oh no. Like,
you know what it reminded me of? The delayed reaction that babies have when they get hurt. They get hurt,
right?
And then all of a sudden there's like a like that delayed reaction. That's what it reminded me of. It's like, oh, He reminds me of my son. When my son like hurt himself, he's like, "Ah,
But Dad,
ah." Yeah,
they're okay. The
Yeah.
babies are okay until you ask them if they're okay.
I'm not okay. Yeah, that's what it
You
reminded
were
me of
crying
yesterday.
before I asked. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look, that was absolutely ridiculous, and that's obviously why Victor Hedman was so pissed off when he got sent to the penalty box and slammed the door shut and he almost took off the hand of the attendant sitting inside the penalty box because he slammed that door so damn hard. It's stuff like that is just ridiculous, man. You're in the Eastern Conference Final, and look, if you're supposed to be the better team, the Rangers obviously believe they're the better team. You don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals thinking you got there on a fluke, right?
Right.
If you think you're the better team, why are you doing shit like that? Like, why are you like? Do you really need that extra advantage?
It's a New York team. What do you expect? What do you expect, man?
I thought it was nuts. I was not a fan of it. Even if the shoe was on the other foot, and let's say Vazzy did it, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of faking shit to get a penalty call. Like, I think that's ridiculous.
I'm there with you. It's ticky tacky. It's really Bush League.
Yes,
It's Bush League. Come smack you in the mouth. It's Bush League.
I like it. Oh, I just reacted. You said smack in the mouth. I gave it a few seconds, and
smack you in the mouth. Bush League. Bush League.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of Bush League, Evan, how about these Tampa Bay Rays?
Yeah, how about them?
8 games back on the Yanks. Now a game and a half back on the Blue Jays. Red Sox have won 4 straight.
Yeah. We're in that part of the season where bye, honey, bye. Be good. we're in that that part of the season where teams are going to have slumps. They're going to have those periods of where they're going to be bucket of yucks. And right now, the Rays are in that situation, not only on the field, but doing stupid stuff off the field. I remember I texted you last week, I think maybe I put this out as a poll, looking at trades going forward. Yeah. Obviously they've got guys they're coming back from injury. They've got Patino, they've got Boz coming back. Kittredge is got activated yesterday too as well. So you got bullpen help coming. There's that one piece that I think they're missing in the lineup. Mm-hmm. They need to put out feelers right now. They need to put out, hey, who's available? Is this guy available? We're looking to make a move. I just, I think we said this last week that for them to make a run deep into the postseason, they wouldn't do it. I mean, obviously they would make the playoffs because of the expanded playoffs this year. But for them to go deep and make a World Series run, they're not built for that. They're not. Especially if they're trying to go against, a team like even Toronto's looking good again, but Toronto looked like this in the first, month of the season, and they had their slump as well. Yep. But I think for them to last, they need to do something. They need to shake it up a little bit, and then for them to really catch fire, because right now they're just playing uninspired baseball, and they don't
like going out.
Yeah, they're a bad third place team. And the Reds, like you said, the Red Sox have won 4 straight. The Red Sox are probably going to catch up to the Rays here. I mean, even the Orioles,
right?
Like the Orioles aren't even that bad. Like they're bad, but they're not that bad. But like,
does it hurt you to say that every team in the AL East is actually?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't hurt me because this is the norm. I mean, this is the AL East. The AL East is one of the toughest divisions in baseball. So, but they really have to shake it up to be really competitive. I mean, I think we can maybe say the Yankees are kind of running away with it right now. Mm-hmm. Let's put that out there. I mean, there hasn't been any kind of signs of a collapse anytime soon. Maybe we'll see it after the second half. We don't know yet. But for them to stay competitive with the Blue Jays, and now since the Red Sox have kind of caught fire, it's like, what are you guys doing? Because they're just looking uninspired, and that's what I say. And
it's not going to work. That's
no,
the
it's
problem.
not. It's not. It's not going to work.
I mean, we're talking about supposedly by the end of the month we're going to know what's going on with the stadium.
Right.
They announced that they have to pick a builder. Okay, great. That's fine. Get that out of the way finally. But what are you going to do about your team?
Right.
Like we're worried about builders, and I get it. The stadium talk is never going to end until it ends, right? Totally understand that, but you need to get your team ready to win. You can't go into a new stadium and half-ass it. You got to go to a new stadium and have a winning roster already, because you're possibly moving directly into Tampa Bay.
Right. And
right.
It's kind of the stadium talk is a big issue, but right now, like, winning a World Series should trump that.
Correct.
You know, the stadium stuff should be discussed after the season, which always should be. And I hate the fact that, you know, obviously it is news and it's a big thing with this team is, okay, where are they going to be? Where are they going to land? Like, where are they going to be having their next stadium? And is it going to be in St. Peter's or Tampa? That's the biggest thing that's been talked about forever. But it's the biggest thing, concernicus for all the fans out there, is how is this team going to be really stay competitive in the AL East? Like, the stadium talk, yeah, it's great. They'll find a builder, then they're going to have a plan. That's cool, but let's maybe talk about how are we going to make this team better going forward, because I'm not confident. I'm not confident. I'm really not. I mean, will they make the playoffs? Yes. Will they probably get bounced in the first round? Probably. Or the wild card? Probably.
If they lose it, let's just say shit hits the fan and they don't even make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Let's say they stay being inconsistent, and the Blue Jays can be inconsistent all they want, but they're now ahead of us anyway, right? So let's say that the inconsistencies continue. Boston figures their shit out, and Tampa Bay doesn't even make the playoffs this season. What do you do then going forward? Because you saw these issues very early on in the season, and you did nothing to address them.
Mm-hmm. I think if there's an ultimate collapse, and I doubt this will ever happen, really management and ownership has to say, okay, we've got, and I wish they would do this maybe just for shits and giggles, is look, you've got to open up the pocketbook. You've got to open it up.
Yep.
And spend, like, the sabermetrics and, you know, doing what you guys have been doing. It has been successful. It has, but it hasn't been successful where you're winning a championship. Like, it's gotten you there a couple of times. It's gotten you in the playoffs. You've won the AL East. You've won the ALCS, but you haven't won the big one. And I just wish that one of these years where it's, you know, we keep doing the same thing every single year, and it's producing results, but it's not producing the ultimate result. Maybe we've got to say and I don't want to hear the excuses from ownership and, oh, we don't have you've got the money. You have the money.
Right.
Like, open up the checkbook and say, okay, we're going to be signing, we're going to inflate our payroll over $100 million, which they need to do, because that's the only way now you're going to be staying competitive in the AL East, because, you know, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox have big payrolls, and they've shown that they can have. I mean, obviously, the Yankees haven't won in a while. Red Sox won, I think, 5-6 years ago. Blue Jays, I mean, Blue Jays haven't won since the 90s, but you know, but they're spending, and they're creating scary teams. And to me, the Rays have never really been a scary team. Like, you know, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. On paper, they don't look scary, but when you get into, like, the playoffs and the pitching's healthy and everything's aligned, then they are a scary team. But now they the lineup doesn't scare me. Like if I was a pitcher, I'd be like, oh, I'm going up against this lineup. There's a couple of good hitters, and that's it. Like other than that, like the bottom half of your lineup is batting under 200 right now in the 150s. So does that scare me? Hell no. So
no, and it doesn't matter if you've got like a bum pitcher. You can call up pitchers to go against the Rays currently right now and make them feel pretty good about their position,
right?
Being a major league pitcher.
That's why I wish they would just, at the trade when it comes up to the trade deadline, like I know they've made splashes, but make a big splash. Like Juan Soto is going to be available. Mm-hmm. Soto is going to be available at the trade deadline. Make a splash, man. You guys, they need a big hitter like that. And then if worse comes to worse where they don't make the playoffs this year, like shake it up, man. Like open up the pocketbook and let's bring some big name players into the fold. You have to.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're still you're still talking about moving the team.
Right.
And that's kind of the full circle moment for me is get a winning team together now. You've almost been there for a handful of years. You've been almost to the top.
Danny, let me ask you this. Do you think they haven't opened up the pocketbook because of where they're at in St. Pete? If they were over in Tampa, they're across the bridge, they have the new stadium secured. Do you think they would open up the pocketbook and start bringing in the big name players?
You know what? I think they would.
I think so too, because now you're in that bigger metro market, and if you bring those bigger name players in, it's going to be the bigger draw to the stadium if it gets done. I think I agree with you on that. I think the only reason why they haven't maybe done that is because of where they're at.
Yeah, that's actually you brought up a very good point there, because I feel like if you're in Tampa, like actually in the city limits of Tampa, not in St. Petersburg, you're now directly associated with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Lightning as back-to-back champs.
I was just about to say that too, because now if you bring like the big name players in, now you can market that as, hey, Tom Brady. I mean, obviously Tom Brady, we don't know what happens next year, but like Tom Brady, the Mike Evans, like, and then you have the Lightning too. Like you're putting that epicenter, the trifecta of the big three, where that Rays team now has those big name players which you can market that all over the place in Tampa. Instead of trying to do that.
That's actually a very good point. And
Rays, call me. What's up?
Yeah. Pick the damn stadium already and then open up the checkbook. Do it all before like trade deadline. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it, man.
I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is here. I guess we'll jump into this right now, Evan.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got to rip the Band-Aid off at some point.
Yeah,
so
I'll put up the banner. There we go.
Not all Rays players.
Not all Rays.
But a good majority of the Rays players did not participate in the team's Pride Night on Saturday. A lot of them citing religion, which I think is the cheapest of cheap cop-outs, if I'm being totally honest. Man, I'm trying not to spin this and make this into something that it's, something a little bit deeper, but like first and foremost,
you know what the funny thing is? It's all pitchers,
right?
Jason Adams, Jalen Beeks, Brooks Raley, Jeffrey Springs, and Ryan Thompson, all pitchers.
All pitchers.
Weird.
So they're sitting in the bullpen, and one of them had to be like, "God damn it, I ain't wearing," like, you know what I mean?
So this is the quote from Jason Adams yesterday, according to the Tampa Bay Times. A lot of it comes down to faith, to like a faith-based decision. So it's a hard decision because ultimately we all said that what we want is them to know that they're all welcome and loved here. But when we put it on our bodies, I think a lot of guys decided that it's just a lifestyle that maybe not that they look down on anybody or think differently. It's just that maybe we don't encourage it if we believe in Jesus, who's encouraged us to live a lifestyle that would abstain from that behavior, just like Jesus encouraged me as a heterosexual male to abstain from sex outside of the confines of marriage. It's no different.
But do you support your friends having sex outside of marriage?
I would love to, everybody needs to get laid. So yes.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
And is religion not built upon repenting and forgiveness?
Don't judge thy neighbor or whatever.
Right. And like, You don't have to say I support your lifestyle by wearing a tiny patch on your jersey,
I
right?
we remember we texted last night
Ugh.
about this, and I'm sure I was really kind of shocked about this because as a team, as an organization as a whole, the Rays in general, they're huge in the community like this, especially the LGBTQ. I'm probably missing a letter in that community,
Plus, I
especially
think.
especially in because the St. Pete area is huge in that community, and
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that if I'm really shocked that the Rays PR people like let this quote get out. Like if I'm the Rays PR, I'm like, dude, shut your mouth. Like we don't
Yeah.
want bad because you're now kind of you're alien. If I was a member of that community, and I have relatives in that community, like I would be really pissed and mad because look, I went to your game on Saturday night. It was Pride night. You know, you're showcasing this community, and a few of your players are saying, "No, we're not going to do that. We don't support you." I'd be pissed. I'd be demanding money back. And I'd be like, I'm never coming to your games ever again. You're losing like a segment of your fans, which you are trying so hard to get more fans to come. You're like alienating more fans by letting this get out. Like I'm so shocked about this. How the Rays PR people would let this get out. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, Dan, it is what it is. I mean, people have their beliefs. It is what it is.
Yep.
You can't hate on the guys for believing what they believe in. I get it. You have your beliefs. If you didn't want to do it, you have every right to do it. But when it's a night where you're showcasing that community, just suck it up and wear it, man. Like,
Yeah, like I find it's so weird. It's like, okay, well, like
are we still at this point in time?
like
You know what I mean?
we realize if you're a normal thinking, understanding person, like we have Pride Month
Right.
because of shit like that.
Right.
Well, I'm okay. I mean, it's not for me, but it's not. Why do you need to talk about it?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Exactly. Why would
Like
you?
why? You know what I mean? Like why not just be about it? Just do it. Like
And also too, since they're not wearing it, it almost takes the focus off Pride Night and puts the focus on those 4 or 5 guys. You know what I mean?
right
It's
that you're not even watching anyway.
right. It's that the guys are in the bullpen that's the distraction that look this wasn't even warranted. Like just wear the patch, man. You're in the bullpen. You're not
Right.
Wander Franco. You're not
Yeah.
you're not Kevin Kiermaier. Now, if it was Kevin Kiermaier that did this, it would be a huge explosion of bad plays.
Right.
But
However, on the flip side, Kevin Kiermaier says it's one of those things my parents taught me to love everyone as they are.
right.
Go live your life. Whatever your preferences are, go be you.
That's what
I mean-
Jason Adams should have said.
Right. Not my lifestyle choice. That's your lifestyle choice.
It almost
Like-
seems like the Rays are like this 2022 is the Rays' year of bad stuff.
Right. It's like an implosion year
Yeah.
for the Rays.
We come off a 100-win season last season. Now it's just bad stuff.
I mean, dude, you're talking about a season average of 16,868 fans in attendance. Saturday's night's Pride Night was 19,452 at regular standard ticket pricing.
That's pretty good.
You're talking about nearly 3,000 more people showing up. That's not by accident.
Nope.
Because I told you this last night. I'm 1,000% sure that the Tampa Bay Rays hosting the Chicago White Sox is not let's go watch baseball. Like that's not must see TV. We're not yearning for that, right? So obviously that huge uptick in ticket sales and attendance is specifically directed to Pride Night.
Right.
And it's just, to me, it's very unfortunate that you've got a group of pitchers that aren't even playing in the game, taking the spotlight off of and really kind of derailing what was supposed to be a fun and inclusive night.
Right.
For me, look, not my lifestyle preference, not my lifestyle choice. If that's yours, great. Because do you know how much your lifestyle choice affects my life? None.
Right.
Absolutely none. Doesn't affect me. Evan, I'm sure it does not affect you. It does not affect my friends. Like, it doesn't, like, it just, and then using religion, because I guarantee you have not been a saint, sir. And then to
You're talking
come
about
out
me or
and
Jason Adams?
yes,
Jason Adams, yeah. I'm sure. He's a baseball player,
but
for God's sakes.
right, but I mean, it's like that is the most cheapest way out of a situation that you didn't need to even put yourself into.
It's just such a cop-out.
It is, and it's Bush League.
Yeah.
Oh,
Smack you in the mouth, Bush League. Andre!
come on, guys.
Let's get
You got to get it
guys.
together.
Yeah, get it together.
Like,
Get it together, Tampa.
that's not the. That shouldn't be what people are talking about.
Right.
But here's the problem. How often do we say the Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa in general, doesn't really get any national media coverage? Well, there you are.
There you go. And it's
We
not
got our
good
national
coverage
media
either.
coverage now because a bunch of guys were like, I can't wear a patch on my jersey.
I can't wear a patch or a jersey.
I don't get it. I'll never get it where I don't know. I feel like the social media world has made our society feel that everybody needs to be on a soapbox. Welcome to our morning show. But I don't understand where you have this aim. You see the financial success for it, and then you've got a group of players that are like, yeah, but we don't want our team to really succeed.
Right.
That's basically, like you said, that's alienating your fan base. That's telling me we don't actually want you.
That's saying please don't come
here.
to the ballpark.
Right, because like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think there's going to be like two guys like in left field making out? Like, come on, man! Like, it's just so it's stupid.
It's also like, to me, and I know we're running long on this story. It's another blunder when it comes to like PR, marketing your team type of stuff. It's another blunder. Like they it's over and over with this team when it comes to like bad press. It's like, do you guys not listen to, do you guys not pay attention? It's like, it's blunder after blunder when it comes to this stuff. And and everybody's complaining, oh, we don't get enough coverage. Well, the coverage we got isn't good. So yeah, let's move on the football.
Gronk's going to come back, baby.
Now, is this confirmed, though? I've seen so many people, especially on these Facebook groups, where, oh, he's not, oh, he is, oh, he's not.
Well, those are the armchair.
I know.
Those are the Keith Larsons of the world.
Oh, you're name dropping.
Look, Rick Stroud reported
who should not be named.
Right, the Voldemort of Bucks media.
Friends, it has been 13 long years. It's so good to see you again.
Rick Stroud reported it.
I will tweet out nonsense and take from other people's sources.
I will just post Greg Allman tweets.
Abacababa!
CBS confirmed Rick Stroud's report that Gronk will be re-signing, likely just before training camp begins in late July.
Which is right where we thought he was going to be in the first place.
Yes.
Surprise.
Follow us for more recipes, guys.
Yes.
We knew Gronk was going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he wasn't going to come back, there's no reason for him to not have said, I'm done.
Right. And
there
I
was
think
no reason.
Also, by now, I think everybody should know, look, veterans don't really need to go to, pre-camp stuff. They don't have to. Like, all they have to do is stay in shape, make sure they don't get injured before, preseason starts. They don't have to come to these things. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them there. That way you can, they're working out with their team. But like, hey, Gronk doesn't need to do that anymore. All he has to do is show up at least by game 1 and be in shape.
Show up and
just show up and catch and be Gronk. That's all you have to do.
show up and get to work.
Get to work. I mean, the only way he's going to retire is when Brady is done. Brady is done.
Yeah.
Gronk is done.
Right. Yeah. Gronk saying that he likes Joe Burrow didn't mean, hey, I'm going to go sign and play with Joe Burrow.
Right.
Because here's what's going to happen is Gronk goes to Cincinnati and plays with that Studley 3 wide receiving core, and he gets 5 targets a season.
Danny, I like Michael Wilbon. I'm going to go join PTI.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I agree with Michael Wilbon. I spent 2 seasons here.
Stephen A. Smith and I are pen pals. I'm going to go join First Take.
Evan, let me tell you something.
I've known him since he was a little boy. And I know for a fact. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean, that sounded pretty damn spot on.
I was going to say
losing your train of thought.
That's my terrible Stephen A. Smith impression, but you know.
Right. But I mean, look, let's be real here. Gronk coming back is huge for the Bucs.
It is.
Simply because they don't have solid depth at tight end. We talked about this last week. Gronk was the 7th ranked tight end heading into the season, according to Pro Football Focus. And he doesn't have a team. Cameron Brate wasn't even in the top 20. Now, if you want to say disrespectful, lack of credit, that's fine. But truth of the matter is Cameron Brate is often injured.
I'm surprised
let's call it what it is.
I'm surprised that Cameron Brate hasn't been moved because of the lack of reps, and then also the gargantuan contract that he has where, that could have saved the Bucs a lot of money. I mean, without OJ Howard there now, it's Cam Brate. If you don't have Gronk and OJ Howard, all you have is Cam Brate and the 2 guys that you drafted in the draft.
Right. And maybe the rookies show up this season.
Right.
But there's a reason why there's been zero discussion about them as well.
Right.
And that's not saying that they're going to be terrible, but that's just saying, like, look, they're rookies. And if Cameron Brate is that much better and still not getting any respect from a place like Pro Football Focus, and I know people have their, they'll nitpick, how do they grade? Do it. I find Pro Football Focus to be probably the most accurate source for depicting a player's performance. And if Cameron Brate is not even in the top 20, that's a huge leap ahead if you re-sign Rob Gronkowski, whether it's now, whether it's July. And that's the one thing that I don't understand. And I think we've probably talked about this a handful of times. If you're going to resign, just resign. Hey, I'm going to resign. I'm going to get it over with. I ain't going to training camp. Just letting you know that. I'll show up at the end of July. Well, what's the difference? I think it also has to do with maybe there is a little bit of him that says, maybe I'm kind of done. Maybe he is to that point where, I've done all I can. I've done all that I've done with my career. I don't need to come back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to keep doing this because I'm a multiple Super Bowl winner. Like, I'm pretty much, I'm on the 3 tight end all time. I'm on that Mount Rushmore of tight ends. Like, I don't need to, maybe my body's taking a toll. Like, maybe I don't need to do this anymore. Maybe, I'm sure I think every single season he's like that. And I think, maybe this is just another season where he is truthfully like pondering that question, should I do this one more time? Because he's got so many other things outside of football right now. I mean, he's got, the wrestling, he's got TV stuff. He's also got like his business ventures that he's doing too as well. So, I think in the back of his mind is, do I need to come back for one more year to, get get another payday and maybe get another chance at the ring? Because maybe, but I think there is a level of, do I really need to do this anymore? You know what I mean? Right. So, which is true. And I'm sure he's thinking that when he's at the Wynn twerking. Right. And then he's cutting it up at the Wynn, popping bottles. Right. Like, but if you're going to do it, just come out. We said that. Just do it. Right.
Yeah, just say you're going to retire or hey, I'm coming back. Yeah, I totally get that. I get it. But I think there's also just like, he's getting probably an earful from Tom and all that stuff. Like, hey, what are you doing? Are you coming back? He's just probably, I'm just enjoying life right now, bud.
I'm sure Tom already knows whether he's coming back or not.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's told Tom, like, this is what I'm doing. So,
yeah, I like, there might be a little bit of hesitation, like in the back of his mind, maybe of like, God, I really want to go through a whole season again.
right. You know what's funny is too that the position value of NFL players is so it's not equal because we're talking about a tight end. Gronk, is one of those big name players. He's a tight end though. But remember, think about last year when the biggest conversation throughout the offseason was, is Aaron Rodgers going to retire?
Right.
And that was one of the biggest news stories. Is he retiring? Is he going somewhere else? But Gronk is almost like a blip on the radar when it comes to, if he decides to retire, they're going to be, oh, okay, he's retiring.
Do you think that has to do with the Tampa Bay aspect again?
No, I don't think it does. I think it just has to do with the level of, how players are looked at in the league. Like, what's the most important? Look, the most important position in the league is the quarterback position.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think if he if he retires, it's the second time he retires. So if he retires, people are gonna be like, oh, he retires again. It's sad to see him go. He's a great player. But if this was like a quarterback, say the level of like Aaron Rodgers, like even if Tom Brady decides to retire again, it'll be a huge news story. You know what I mean?
Right. I still feel like if Gronk, and maybe it just has to do with like a little bit of his fall off. Right. Where
has he really fallen off though?
I feel like he has a little bit.
Maybe because of injuries, but like, in the playoffs and in that Super Bowl, like that was vintage Gronk. He showed up when he was needed the most. So I wouldn't. Right. I would say they're using him as another skill set in this completely different scheme as they did up in New England. Because in New England, he was really one of the focal points of that offense.
Yeah.
Since Tampa has so many weapons as it is, they don't have to rely on Gronk like as much as they did in New England. That's why I can agree with you on that. I think, he has dipped production wise because of the way their offense is set up, but I don't think he's maybe fallen off as a player as a whole.
Yeah. He was definitely here. He was
maybe a separate
necessity.
Yes, exactly.
And here he's a luxury.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I like it. Brings you to the next point. Who is on the Mount Rushmore for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
That's a good Twitter poll question.
I already put it up.
Oh, nice.
As we were talking about Gronk, multitasking. I didn't poll it because how do you poll that?
Yeah, it's not really a poll question. That's true. That's a good point.
And I started diving in. I was like, okay, so obviously we have to have Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp has to be, right?
Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks.
Yep.
Rondé Barber. These are all defensive guys too.
Right. Mike Evans?
Not yet.
Does he deserve to be there yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I think as the one offensive guy, it would be Mike Evans. Yeah. Because of his body of, I think with the Super Bowl victory, it kind of puts a stamp on that. Because look at the accolades he's gotten. Look at his body of work when it comes to every single season. He's had 1,000-yard season.
Right. With lackluster quarterbacks.
Until now.
Right.
Because Mount Rushmore is what, four heads?
4. Yep.
Yeah, that's not many. And there's so many Bucs players. Do you include Tom Brady on that?
Well, and that's a great question. Is you go, okay, well, if you have the luxury of having the GOAT on your team, does he make, obviously, like he would be 3 out of the 4 faces when it comes to the New England Mount Rushmore, right? It's Brady, Belichick.
Even though Brady's been here 2 years, that's, and like you've got guys that have retired that have been on the Bucs for a very long, like Rondé Barber, like those 3, like Barber, Brooks, Sapp, like those are no brainers. And then you can talk about John Lynch,
Leroy Selman.
Well, Leroy Selman is yes, that's a definite. because he's so far the only Bucks player that's the first Hall of Fame Bucks player.
Right.
So I would say Leroy Selman is like 100% on it.
I could see people making an argument for Mike Allstott, and I loved A-Train, but I don't think he's on there. I don't think he's on there.
That's a tough one, man. I think what we could do is put another question: is out of these players, who deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of the Bucks?
I could do that.
Let's do that.
I'll do that. I will whore it out to the Facebook groups.
Then that's a real conversation starter, because that's how you get the arguments going. Is okay. Well, he deserves it more than this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in a perfect world, obviously we'd want all those guys on there. I think if the most logical thing is you could maybe have 2 offensive players and then 2 defensive players, but then you're still you're still like canceling out a bunch of players that could be on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah, that's a hard
question. But it's fun. Like, these are the debates that I like getting into, because then you find like some real diamond in the rough fans. True. Because I'm a stat guy. Like, how many times do you have somebody that's like, yeah, but like LeBron James is trash? You're like, all right, look, he's not trash. Like, you might not be a fan of him. I think Michael Jordan is the best basketball player of all time. But you don't like that. Doesn't mean I think LeBron James sucks. Do I find his game annoying when he flops? Yes, I do. But you know what I mean? Like, and then you have people that'll come over and they'll bring you stats, right? Like, if I showed you the statistics of a certain wide receiver and said, these are the second best numbers of all time, you would not think that it's Larry Fitzgerald. However, it is Larry Fitzgerald, who's the best catching wide receiver of all time in NFL history, the most accurate catcher, Larry Fitzgerald. If I put out a poll and said, cut a player between Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss, who are you going to cut? Probably Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Because
it's sad to say that too, because I mean, his body of work is more impressive than most wide receivers that and it's kind of funny. Like, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like he doesn't have the highest high.
Yeah.
Like a Randy Moss does.
Doesn't have like he doesn't have rings either.
Right. Almost. No Plexico Burris with that. I still don't know if that was a catch. I'm still debating with myself like 12 years later if that was a catch or not. But I don't know. Mount Rushmore, we're gonna discuss this. This could become like a topic all week long.
I'm
depending on people's responses.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, because this is the stuff we want. Jump in the comments, duke it out with people.
I'm cool with that.
Just be kind of semi-cordial about it, though. Don't be a complete asshole. Like, game 2 of the NBA Finals was last night. The Warriors shored up the series, tied it up 1-1. Finally, I was telling Heat fans and Celtic fans at the end of the Eastern Conference Finals that it didn't matter who won that series, that the Warriors were going to win the finals anyway. They were just too good. And last night that's exactly what we saw. We saw a team that was too good. 107-88. And Jason Tatum played well. That's not something that you can count on. You can't count on Jason Tatum shooting 3 of 17 like he did in game 1 and expect to win. Like, you can't expect the best player on the team to suck every night. Right? And that was the scary part, is Jason Tatum played like crap in game 1. He had 13 assists, but the Celtics still blew out the Warriors with their best player not playing well. So then you look at it and go, okay, like, everybody on the Warriors played well. Maybe we pegged these Boston Celtics completely wrong.
I think they did in game 1.
Yeah.
But now, look, I don't watch a lot of basketball, but from what I've seen, this will be the Warriors series. Like, I'm surprised that the Warriors have gotten here, because they're an old team. And if the Celtics lose, it's a step in the right direction with this team, because they are a young team, and that's good.
Yeah.
Like, I think Warriors are going to get this anyways. They've been here plenty of times. They know what they need to do. Like this will be a wrap coming up. This will be a short. This will be a short series.
If you look at the team stats from the game last night, they shot exactly the same: 40.5% from three, 43 to 42 rebounds, 37.5 to 45.3 in field goal percentage. This was a very close game, and then it was a 107 to 88 victory. So it's not necessarily wasn't that close, which is crazy to me. Obviously, as we're segueing and adding NBA coverage into our local team, is obviously our Orlando Magic. And the talk of the town right now is if the Orlando Magic will trade their 2 second-round picks, and we know that they're trying to get rid of Terrance Ross because he's the elder statesman. He's doesn't fit their scheme going forward. Still a solid contributor off the bench, probably for another team. Would they package up a deal and get another first-round pick? Orlando Magic Daily had basically kind of worked up some scenarios, some trade scenarios. I liked 2 of them. There were 5 in total. The 2 that I really liked is possibly trading him to the Dallas Mavericks. And they might not get a first-round pick, but they might pick up a player like Dorian Finney-Smith, who is friends with Kristen, which would be pretty cool if he was part of the Orlando Magic. That was my immediate thing. I was like, Dorian Finney-Smith, friend of the show, indirectly. Cool. Be part of the Orlando Magic. Let's go. Make the trade happen. Or Steven Adams with the Memphis Grizzlies. But here's the problem, Evan, is Steven Adams is old. And his salary cap hit is $17.9 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
If I'm going to take on in any sport, I guess outside of baseball, because that doesn't matter, right? But if I'm going to take on an $18 million cap hit on an expiring contract for an old player who has, I don't want to say completely fallen off, but he's fallen off. Let's be real. You got to give me you've got to give me more. I can't take the Orlando Magic needs shooting. Steven Adams is not a shooter. He's a center.
The Orlando Magic needs Shaq and Penny again.
No, yes. And Nick Anderson. And absolutely. Yeah.
Horace Grant. Yes.
Yes. They do. They need angry Horace Grant after he got let go by the Chicago Bulls. But
I was watching that documentary yesterday. I was like, man, that was just such a great
time.
Great time in Orlando when they had a really good team.
And then Shaq's like, hey, I'm the best player in the league outside of Michael Jordan. I think I'd like some more money. And they're like, no, sir. No, sir. So then he leaves.
Which in hindsight, he looked back at it. He's like, I should have stayed instead of going to LA, which I thought was pretty cool of him to say that. Like, hey, I fucked up. I should have stayed instead of doing.
While it's cool to think about, Penny still gets hurt.
Mm.
So and then what happens? How long does Shaq stay for then? It's really cool to kind of look back and speculate on that, right? Where you go, okay, well, let's say Shaq did stay in Orlando and didn't go to LA. What happens to Kobe Bryant?
True. Is he still Kobe Bryant that we all know today?
Right. Is he the beloved Kobe Bryant? Does Penny actually get hurt? Do they still trade for Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady? Think about that. Think about Shaq with a prime Tracy McGrady and a Grant Hill who is trying to come back from injury. Think about how potent that team is.
Right.
Because this is all when the Lakers are running their three-peat dynasty. When Tracy McGrady is now in Orlando and Grant Hill has been traded to Orlando from Detroit. That's actually really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on the Rushmore of the Orlando Magic? Is Shaq on there?
Shaq, Dwight Howard, Penny.
Probably McGrady.
All right, yeah, McGrady. Yeah,
I think arguably Tracy McGrady is the best player that they've ever had.
Yeah,
at a particular moment. outside of Dwight Howard.
I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's another conversation for another day. We're focused on the Bucs Mount Rushmore for now, guys. I'm putting out. I'll make a little graphic for everybody. I'll put out some names, and we'll have you guys start debating it because that's what we do. We want you included in our conversations. That's why we are the Buzz in the Bay. That's why we do what we do, Evan.
I know that's what we do.
Jesus. That's going to wrap it up for us today on this Monday, June the 6th. As Evan said earlier, follow us on all the social media channels. Search for Channel Side Sports Network at CH Side Sports on the Twitter machine. And yeah, just jump in here. Jump on our YouTube channel. Hit likes, subscribe. Jump in the chat. You're not going to be chastised.
Ask us questions. We would love to answer those.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get involved. We are the Tampa Bay community for sports. We bring it all together, right? That's me. That's what I do. I'm a little extra.
It's all good.
Towards the end of the show here. But
we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8 a.m. I'm Danny. That's Evan.
Peace.